what you saw.
It was pure white. There was not any markings on it. There was no rivets. I mean, it was that close that I could have seen it. It was so molded, it looked like it was all one piece. And it was cylinder, it came back, and then this spoiler was across it. And I remember the spoiler was so molded, and it was so white and shiny. Like I said, I saw it from the mid-belly back, and then it banked, so I could not see like what would be like on top of it or anything. But it was just so perfectly white and not a mark on it. Because my thought at the time was, this looks like it's brand new. You know, like it had never been used or...
Air-launched cruise missile, or ALCM. These are clever and extremely deadly weapons. Before extension, their wings and tailplane fold flush to the main body.
Okay, so I'm coming up here, almost to the stop sign, and this, I keep calling it a plane for lack of any other, it came down. I mean, it was like right above my van, and it went right down over my windshield because it was so low that I ducked in my van. When I did, I shut off my radio. And that's when I knew there was no sound. And I said it out loud. I said it 2 times. Oh my God, it's going to crash. It's going to crash. It cleared those trees. So it, to my knowledge, it just seems to me it had to be below the power lines. Came in, swooped up, cleared those trees. It was fall, so it was full of leaves. No leaves moved on the trees. Nothing fell, because I kept thinking, you know, there should be like a disturbance, and it just smoothly went around. I went right over there, banked to the right, and crashed.
Man, and you're, from what you just, the split second that this happened, your sense was that it was so low that it would have had to have come underneath these power lines?
It had to. It had.
Why? Explain that to me.
Because when I looked up, it was in my windshield. I mean, it was just, you know.
So you were driving this van?
No, I had another van.
Okay, but still, you were at this level,
right?
And you're looking up at this stop sign here, and you're saying, "Come here, show us." You're saying it went right in front of you.
It was like right in my windshield. When I looked up, I could see the mid-belly of it. I mean.
So we're looking where we're standing right now. We're looking at what? Okay.
So it somehow cleared this, climbed and went over those trees and cleared all these power lines.
And just went up over the trees?
It went right up over the trees. Just about, it was between this pole and the Buckstown sign. You know, like that's where it went
right
up over.
Over that oak there.
Right up over there. Yeah. Because at the time, there's a lumber mill right here, and at the time I thought, oh my God, it's going to hit there, because it seemed like it was heading that direction. Then it banked. Because I thought, you know, it's right there, the lumber.
It was heading that way. And then it banked kind of, wow.
Which is where the crash site is.
Which is where the crash site is.
And I was telling about, you know, he said, did you see the plane crash and whatever, was you there or anything? And I told him the whole story. And I was explaining to him about whenever we were standing in the office and the lights flickered and everything, and there was another gentleman sitting in the row in front of me that was retired from the Air Force. And as soon as he heard me say that, he immediately stopped me and he said, tell me this. And I told him, and he says, well, I'm retired from the Air Force. He said, that plane was shot down. And I said, why? And he said, because whenever the lights flickered, they zapped the radar frequency on everything before they shoot. And he said, that's why your lights flickered. Your lights didn't flicker from the impact. your lights flicker because they zapped the radar system before they shot it.
I was just driving along here. It was a beautiful day. Had my window open, had this stereo on, and when I got up here almost to the stop sign, this small white plane, at the time, that's what I thought it was, went over top of me. It was so smooth, and it just glided right over me, just like that. And then I ducked, and when I looked up again, then it was the spoiler, which is what I call it, and it was tipped like this so I could really see the spoiler, and then it just banked to the right and went over and went down behind those trees. We got to watching it on TV, and they kept saying that it was a large plane, like a 757, and I was like, no. What I saw was no jet. You know, that would have blown me off the road if it went over me, you know, that close. I said, no, that wasn't it. So, like I said, about 11:30 that night, the FBI came, wanted to talk to me. They kept asking me how big the plane was. I said the plane, you know, it was small, wasn't much bigger than my van that I saw, and that it went over top of me. And he says, you don't know what a 757 looks like. And I said, you know, don't be condescending to me. You know, if you don't want to believe me, that's fine. But what I saw, I thought I should report. And you ought to know there was something else in the air at the same time this was going on. And you want to make sure that maybe it was ours and not somebody else's. And then that's when he did seem to get a little nicer. Told me that it was a white Learjet. Someone was taking pictures. I said, before the crash? And he says, well, we got to go. And that was the end of it.
In times of stress, how they view the public. Can the public stand the truth? Or shouldn't we need a legend at this point. We need a really neat story of reacting against such a dastardly act as was happening. So it's really nice and convenient to think of the Beamer story, let's roll. And that becomes just like the Alamo. And it's just one of those legends. And I'm not saying that somebody's issued an order somewhere that says don't do any more with 93, it's right where it ought to be, and leave it alone. I don't think that's true, but I think there'll be a lot of pressure to let the legend stay where it is. I would think there's some inclination that way.